On a certain day, Shankaran Pillai went to his office and he was in a particularly disturbed and sad mood. The boss looked at him and said, "Why are you like this? Show a little more lively face in the office." Then Shankaran Pillai said, "No, sir, I lost my mother today, my mother died." Then the boss said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Then why are you in the office? Why don't you go home?" So, Shankaran Pillai said, "What will I go home and do? I am alone. Instead of sitting there, I will at least put in the day's work." So the boss said, "Okay, please do whatever you can, don't bother about too many things, you just do whatever you can, just be here," and he kept some distance. So later around noontime, Shankaran Pillai received another phone call in the boss' office. He was in conversation for a minute and then he became completely distraught. Then the boss asked, "Now what happened?" He said, "My brother called and it seems he also lost his mother." If somebody is born, it's a problem. If somebody dies, it's a problem. Anything happens, if they're living, it's a problem. People who are living are problem, isn't it? If they die, they're a problem. What can they do? Tell me, what can people around you do? If they're living, you're complaining and they're a problem. If they die, you'll become very miserable. Your brother's mother dies. So, people are going on inventing ways to be miserable. Some reason. Tell me one thing human beings are not suffering. They're poor, they suffer their poverty. They become rich, they suffer their wealth. They're not married, they suffer their loneliness. If they get married, I won't say anything. They don't have children, they suffer that. If they have children, everyday headache. Oh, it looks like you're suffering all aspects of life, so let's offer you death. You'll suffer that. What to do with you? So the problem is not with life process. The problem is, you are not existing here as life. You have made yourself some other nonsense, which you are not. If you sit here just as a piece of life, are you a piece of life? Are you alive? Yes. Or are you a Telugu, an Indian, a Hindu and a this and that and so many things? Those are all social things, all right. Those things are needed for social identity. But in your experience, unless you sit here as a piece of life, you will not know life. You will know only social nonsense. If you sit here as a piece of life, you will naturally throb with blissfulness. If every moment of your life, if you're feeling very pleasant, whatever you look upon, you will look upon everything and everybody with a loving eye. There is no other way to look. When you're feeling wonderful, don't you look at everybody with a certain sense of fondness? Yes? If you're feeling terrible, whoever you see, they look like So bliss is not an ideology. Bliss is not some kind of a cult. If you stop your nonsense, life is bliss, there is no other way. This is the only culture which recognizes this. This is the only place where we refer to God as Ananda, Brahmananda. Everywhere else is God is a good man, a just man, he will do this, he will do that. In this culture, God is blissed out. You know, Shiva is in Ananda Tandava all the time. These descriptions are just to tell you that if you go beyond the limitations of your physicality, if you could control the traffic a little bit. So All kinds of junk has been sold as spiritual process. That's the biggest problem. So, when they said God is dancing in Ananda, He's not dancing somewhere up there or down here. The very source of creation is throbbing within you. If your experience transcends the limitations of the physical and you touch the inner core, you will see everything is dancing in great blissfulness. Ananda is the nature of life. It is not my idea. If you try to be blissful, you will end up in a hospital. I'm telling you, it'll make you sick. Blissfulness will happen if you take away the wrong identifications that you have attached to yourself. You started believing things that you are not. If you keep your insanity aside, you will become blissful. If you take away the wrong identifications that you have attached to yourself, you started believing things that you are not. If you keep your insanity aside, you will become blissful. When I say insanity, you know what this is? You must tell me. Patram, patra, huh? What patra? No, I crossed the border and I became patram. This is my patra. Yes or no? You're very timid. So suddenly I'm in a satsang and suddenly I take this patra and say, this is my patra. All right, Sadguru's got some problem. But all these teachers have been telling Sadguru is like this, Sadguru is like that, Sadguru is wonderful. And they also say he's wise, let's listen, it's okay, he's got some problems, but all right. If you live in India, you must learn to compromise about everything, isn't it? So, it's okay, let's listen. And I'll keep on talking and suddenly I say, this is me. Now, except the very devout kind who will anyway sit through every kind of damn satsang, whatever the nonsense is being spoken, the rest of you will say, let's go. This is getting too far. This man thinks he's a vessel, there is something wrong with him. But this is what you're doing in your life. Food appears in your plate, you say, this is me, this is my food. You eat it and then you say, this is me. Every day you're doing this insanity, isn't it? Yes or no? What you call as this body, the material for this body was lying all over the planet. You pick it up, you put it inside, suddenly you say, this is me. You're a case, aren't you? Not a spiritual case, a different kind of case, aren't you? Yes or no? You don't like it, ma? She likes it very much. If you think because now I'm speaking through the microphone, if there's no microphone, the voice doesn't go anywhere, it looks like I'm not speaking. So every day speaking through the microphone, suddenly I think, this is me. Oh, this is a dangerous case, isn't it so? Please see, that's exactly what's happened to you. Yes, that's exactly what's happened to you. If you don't get out of this mess, then you will think life is a struggle. If you get out of this mess, then you will know life is utter bliss. If you close your eyes, boom. It's beginning to happen to you at least a few moments, this Anandala touching you a little bit? Or they're only talking about it? Is it beginning to touch you at least for a few moments? So if it is fine, if it is not, it is still good because what you have gone through is just planting. Don't try to harvest it right away, just nurture it. You planted a mango seed in your house. How many days since you did the program? 7 days? 7 days later, you see no mangoes, dig it out. This is not the way life works. Every day you nurture it and water it and water it. Forget about the damn mangoes, you just water it and water it, take care of it, take care of it. Another 4 years later, when you're not thinking about a mango, the mango came and fell on your head without asking for it. You don't have to sit in front of a mango tree and pray every day, please don't bring neem fruit, bring mangoes, please, please, nothing. If you nurture it, it will happen. Similarly for you, the seed is good. The very source of creation is within this. If you just nurture this, beautiful things will come out of it. If you do not nurture it, mango seed will rot and become manure, isn't it? That mango seed which could have produced thousands of packages of sweetness will become just filthy manure, isn't it so? The same with you. If you nurture this, if the source of creation finds expression in this one, this becomes an utterly beautiful piece of creation. If you do not nurture this is just garbage, worse than garbage. Haven't human beings become like this, a lot of them? Yes? Garbage at least you can recycle. A lot of people have become more harmful and less useful than garbage, simply because life is such that you are only given the raw material, fantastic raw material, but still what you make out of it is just yours. So much freedom has been given to you that you can make anything out of this. Freedom is a benediction when you're aware. If you're unaware, freedom is the worst thing. Right now, what human beings are suffering is not their bondage, but their freedom. Freedom is a benediction when you're aware. If you're unaware, freedom is the worst thing. Right now, what human beings are suffering is not their bondage, but their freedom. If your life was fixed up like any other creature's life, that… see for example, a tiger is born. A tiger is not sitting here and wondering and planning how to become a good tiger. A tiger is not wondering how to become a great tiger. If it just finds enough food, it'll become a good tiger, isn't it? It doesn't have insecurities, it doesn't have struggles within itself. Will I become a good tiger? Will I end up as a house cat? There are no such struggles. Just find enough food, becomes a good tiger. So, this man got spiritual thirst and he naturally went into the forest, he came into the Vellangiri hills, where we are. And he went inside and positioned himself just a few kilometers away from the village. Because when you get hungry, you need people, food. Very carefully crafted renunciation this is. You simply go away into the forest, you'll fall dead. You must go into the forest, but you must know the geography of the place where the villages are. Just accidentally you must come by them, but somebody will feed you. This is all… I should not tell you all, this is all spiritual strategy, okay? So he went into the jungle, he had a few days of food, so he sat down, Om Namah Shivaya, he did. Then he noticed, there was one crippled fox, both its four legs were severed. Not recently, long time ago, the wounds have healed, but the fox is well-fed and healthy. See, nature is not kind to any kind of incapability, okay? It's only human societies which try to nurture the incapable in their society. In nature, it's not like that. If you can't get your food, you're dead, okay? It's as simple as that. So a crippled fox, but well-fed and healthy in the forest. He couldn't believe this. How is this fox managing it? But anyway, he's here for spiritual reasons, he's not a environmentalist. That's my problem. So he sat down, as he was doing Om towards the evening, he heard the roar of a lion. A deeper sense of Om was coming. Then his arm stopped. He looked around what this is and it started coming closer, the sound. Then he went up the tree, he just forgot about Shiva for some time. Went up the tree and sat down to see what's happening. Then he saw a lion coming with a piece of meat in its mouth. It came towards the fox, dropped it in front of the fox and walked away. The fox happily eating away this meat. He thought, oh my, this is miracle of miracles. A ferocious lion feeding a crippled fox in the forest. This is a divine message. God is trying to say something to me. What? He thought about it the whole night. What is it that God is trying to tell me? A ferocious lion feeding a crippled fox, this is a God, this is a divine message. Then he made up his own mind, he said, God is clearly telling me, in this forest which is under my care, even crippled foxes are fed by lions. So you fool, on the spiritual path, why are you sitting here and worrying about your food? Just sit. He took this seriously and sat down. 1 day without food, 2 days without food, 3 days, 5th day, 8 days. On the 8th day, he was groaning, just lying there helplessly and groaning, almost on the verge of death. A yogi was passing this way, he heard these groans. He came by and he saw this man lying there in utter weakness. And he asked, what are you doing here lying down like this? The man said, oh yogi, you must know, please tell me. I got a divine message, I went by it and this is what happened. Please tell me, this lion is coming and feeding this fox every day. I'm seeing it with my own eyes, this is a miracle. And this is surely a divine message for me. Is it not so? Please tell me, please tell me. The yogi looked at the man's condition and said, this is for sure a divine message. It is just that, why did you choose to imitate a crippled fox rather than a generous lion? So this is a choice that you have. Every moment of your life, whatever the nature of the situations that you face, are you a generous lion or are you a crippled fox constantly calculating how to get something out of something? That makes the difference. That makes who you are.